I would like you to sing with me. This is our other patriotic song. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountain to the prairie, to the ocean, wide before. God bless America, our home, sweet home. God bless America, our home, sweet home.
And his assignment was to carry a 70-pound flamethrower on his back. His job was to shoot down in the holes where the Japanese were hiding. So here's this 140-pound kid with a 70-pound gun on his back. So he's pretty special. He's my hero.
Born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. Detroit got hit with the Great Depression. Chicago, all the major cities. Everybody was sent home. Everybody that had a job, unless you worked on a government job. City, county, state, or federal. They were the only ones that worked. My mother was a 10'11" little Irish lady. I had a father that was a big bruiser Marine of the First World War. He wasn't a good man. Wasn't a good husband or a father. And that little woman worked her life to death, taking care of her 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys. Well, what did we really have? Number one, I never went to church in my life as a child or as a young man because I didn't have decent clothes to go into church. I would not walk in with dirty overalls or an old shirt. I wouldn't do it. Our mother did their best to, they would, spit shine. You know what that is? Yes, you do. Just like that. She'd take the spots off and iron over it. We had nothing. Nothing. I was about 11 years old sitting on the front porch of Detroit, Michigan, right downtown. And my 2 buddies came by. And their fathers worked for the city, so they had a little money. They came by and said, "Come on down, we're going to go see a Western at the theater." I said, "I can't, I haven't got a dime." That's what it cost, a dime. Well, he said, "Go in and ask your mother." So I walked in the house and I said, "Ma, can I have a dime?" She said, "You want a dime?" I said, "Yes, please." "Go earn it. I don't have it. I don't know what we're going to have for supper, but we'll have something." She always managed to feed us. Great cook. Owned a restaurant when times got better. Going through the Depression, how many of you people remember Velveeta cheese? The older people. That kept us alive. Man-made cheese. It didn't come from a cow. I hate Velveeta cheese. So I've got a buddy over here that lives in Wisconsin, and I get cheese every day. All kinds of cheese. Every year. So as times got rough with the Depression, I never went to church. I had buddies that did go. And they say, "Come on, John, come on, go to church with us." I said, "No, I can't go to church. I haven't got any decent clothes." "Oh, come on, come as you are." I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't walk in the door. I just wouldn't go. Well, the Depression seemed to lift with our President Roosevelt, our hero. And then along came the war. There are 3 of us boys sitting in an old Ford out in front of the house the day after Pearl Harbor. And it is cold. And we have jackets and caps and blankets around. And we were sitting there on the old radio listening to the big bands. We loved the big bands. And then all of a sudden the announcer came on. And he said, ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this broadcast. The President of the United States will address the nation. We didn't know what he was going to say. So we sat there. And then he came on. And this is what my hero said. Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date they will live in infamy. United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked upon by the naval and armed forces of the Empire of Japan. I interpret the will of Congress and of the people. We shall gain triumphant victory, so help us God. And you know, beloved, you know, we did it. The Yankees did it along with the other allies. Well, I got off. 16 years old after I heard him, all three of us 16 years old. I said, tomorrow morning, I'm skipping school. I'm going down the federal building. I'm going to join the Marine Corps. And they said, you can't. You got to be 17. I said, I'll get the paper. So I ran down. I told my two sisters, don't say a thing to Ma. I'm going down and get a Marine Corps paper. So I went down and I met a gunny sergeant. He said, what can I do for you, young man? I said, I want to join up. I was hoping he would let me. He said, how old are you? I said, 16. He said, I can't take you. But I'll tell you, when you're going to be 17. I said, in 6 months. He said, I'm going to give you a piece of paper. When you turn 17, you have your mother and father sign it. And then bring it here, and we can do business. Do you want to do that? And I said, yes, sir. He said, go. I ran for a mile all the way down home. And I ran in the back door. I made a big mistake. My ma was standing there. And she said, what are you doing home from school? I said, well, I told her what happened. She said, I am not going to sign that paper. I went through with your dad. I'm not going to go through this. Throw it away. I went in the dining room, stuck it in the buffet drawer, put papers on top. 6 months later, my birthday came. I was 17. I went and got the paper. My dad was there. And I said, Dad, sign this. He said, what is it? I'm going in the Marine Corps. He said, give me a pen. And he signed it. He said, Vera, that was my mother's name. Come on out here. I want to talk to you. The boy, listen, she said, I'm not going to sign that paper. I don't want nothing to do with it. He said, Vera, listen to me. The boy walks out of school. He's doing menial jobs. He'll probably turn out to be a bum, sign the paper. She said, give me the paper. She signed it. I ran downtown, and the gunny sergeant says, great. See that door? I said, yes, sir. He said, you're going in that door and meet a Navy doctor. And that Navy doctor is going to work you over from the top of your head to the tip of your toe. You know what I'm talking about. All right. I did. And they shipped me off to California, the Marine Corps. We trained for an island we knew nothing about. No one ever knew anything about Iwo Jima. The word never came up. Nimitz, Admiral Nimitz, MacArthur, and the president were the only ones that knew about this. And they had a conference. Everything was set. All we had to do was get ready for it. They broke up the paratroopers. They broke up every special weapons. And we got together and formed the 5th Marine Division. And we were called, I'm forgetting what it was, but with the 5th Marine Division. And we were trained to hit an island that we knew nothing about. Nobody ever heard the name Iwo Jima. It was never mentioned.
Kind of hold this and aim it.
And then one day we loaded up for bear, and we got aboard a ship and took off across the Pacific, and we got to Saipan, which was over with, and we got off that transport, got on the LSTs, and took off for another 2 weeks to an island called Iwo Jima. And then we got in our little tractors, and we went to the shore, and we jumped out and hit the beach. I called over, I don't know how many of my buddies are already shot. On my right was John Basilone. You know about him. Medal of Honor, Guadalcanal. Good Marine, Manila John. He took a bullet from a sniper. He was killed on my right. We proceeded to move over our dead buddies' bodies. And we had to get off the beach or we'd all been wiped out. We made it off the beach and turned left and headed for Mount Suribachi, and I'll be there in 3 weeks again. We're having a final celebration, and what I heard was we're going to shut it down. This is enough. We headed for Mount Suribachi. I got there the third day, 575 feet. That's how far. We crawled up that island, fighting all the way up. They would drop grenades down, let them roll down on us. We'd throw them further down out of the way as much as we could. But we made our way up towards the top. Now, our major had a flag. He had it in his tunic here. He pulled it out, and they gave it to his executive officer. And he said, Harold, when you get up there, get up around the side if you can. Just see if you can put this flag up for the skipper on that transport. He said, yes, sir. He took the flag. They moved up around the other. We were fighting up. They moved up the side, got up there. They had a skirmish and killed a few, and then they worked on it. Now, what do you think the flag is on? You don't know this. Drain pipe. It's put on drain pipe. The Japanese caught rainwater and had it run down in buckets. That's the only water they had. And that's one primary reason they surrendered. They had no water. They knew we had our own water. We made it. Well, let's go on real fast. Everything was settled on Mount Suribachi. We cleared it up. The next day we moved up to Hill 362A. You can see it on the map. I lost my battalion, all of our officers. I hit the beach with 310 Marines. 1 week later on Hill 362A, there were 18 of us left and no officers. We proceed to keep fighting with the rest of the boys to the north. I'll hurry along now. At the 6th week, we were held up. They weren't fighting anymore. They were starving. They were thirsty. If they ran down to the water, our men would pick them off in the water. So they surrendered. We got word that we were going to be released. So we went down to our cemetery at Mount Suribachi. Now you have to listen to this because it includes every one of you here. We went down to the cemetery. And as we lined up, our colonel said, I want you to pass through those gates. And I want you to say goodbye to your buddies and your officers and come out and we'll form formation, get aboard ship and get ready, go back and get ready for Japan. She hadn't surrendered yet. Germany did. We walked down to the gate and we stood there and he put us in line and he said, go through. And we marched through our cemetery. As you went through the gate, an arch, on the left was an 8.5 by 11 paper nail. We don't know who put it there. And this is what it said, and it includes every single one of you. Fellas, when you go home, tell the folks we did our best that they may have many more tomorrows. You are enjoying the many more tomorrows. Because a bunch of teenage bird brains joined up and they transformed our minds. They brainwashed us to do what they wanted us to do. And I'm still brainwashed. I'd re-up if I could. Well, there's something else I want to mention. Gary Sinise is a godly man. He's an American. He's working on another program. And during the World Day of Prayer back in May, I was back at D.C. They had us come there. And Robert Patrick, the actor, the big burly guy. Gary Sinise put a big picture of me on the screen and said, Don will not tell his own story. I'm sitting down right by the stage. But Robert Patrick will tell his story. And Robert Patrick came on, and I'm going to just tell you what he said something. It just blessed my heart. And everybody applauded. As he came towards to finish up, he said three things. He said, I love this country. I love the Marine Corps, wouldn't have anything else. I love America. I love this flag. And people stood up and applauded with tears coming down their face. And he came over, he embarrassed me. And he walked over and took my hat off and kissed me on the forehead. Well, that's the story. I could tell a lot more, but I think that's enough. Listen, and you're getting warm sitting out there, I know that. But listen, younger people. Love your country. Everybody over in Europe wishes they could get through the gate. They love this country. We've got our problems. Hopefully, God willing, in days to come, we can get it squared away one way or another. But I love this country, and I'd fight for it again. Well, you know it can't happen. Well, I thank you so much for allowing me to come here and speak. But you see, I've got to take off because I have to go home and shower and get ready, put my lipstick on and my everything on, look nice for the Marine Corps ball. I'm going to have that at 6 o'clock tonight. God bless all of you. You know what? Can I sing another song? All right, let me sit down. Let me sing you a song.
You go ahead.
Let's see. What would be a good song to do? Do you remember Bing Crosby?
Yes.
Good old Bing. He's gone now. Well, if you ever remember, excuse me, he sang Christmas songs. White Christmas. Do you remember?
Of course.
I'm gonna try to do that. And old Bing, come on. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones we used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. Their days be merry and dry, and may all your Christmases be white.
Woo!
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I think it's important to come together. I mean, festivals and events like this are fun, but when you have a purpose and you get to learn about your town and about your state's history and your country's history, I think that's pretty important. So happy Texas Independence Day. Happy birthday to our country. Thank you for being on here today. And the good thing about being independent from Texas, from Mexico, we still love Mexico, thank goodness. And we got some great margaritas out here. We've got food. We've got chili. So have a great afternoon, and thanks for coming.